Dumelang kaofela. Before we get started, I would like each and every one of you who's running and watching this video on unlimited Wi-Fi, can I ask you during your spare time to jump onto the channel and click on the GMTV link and play all. You can mute the videos and let them run in the background. This allows for us to have more viewer time and watch time, and essentially it helps you to donate to the channel. My name is Gogo Moyo, and I'm going to be hosting you today when we're talking about spiritual mentorship. We are almost at 30,000 subscribers. Thank you so much to everybody that has subscribed, gotten their friends to jump onto the channel, as well as likes to reshare our content. Anyone else who's watching for the first time today, I implore you to click on the subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the exciting videos we have in store for you. Yay! Let's grow together. Let's get right into it. So, spiritual mentors are really important. They differ for different people who are on different parts of their journeys. So let's say you are starting off and you're having very vivid dreams and you realize that you just always have to bounce off ideas or share some certain narratives about what it is that you're actually picking up on. But you don't necessarily need ukobela, because that would mean that your journey has since begun. So you would have to find someone who understands the conversation of your spirituality, understands your age, your frustrations, and whatever challenges that you might be facing with whatever demographic you belong to. Then there's someone who just belongs to a church and they rely heavily on talking to their pastors or their community leaders to be the ones that can guide them along their journey. Essentially, a spiritual teacher is someone who is able to guide you along your path, help you identify key and important attributes about yourself, downfalls, things that you can work on and improve, as well as foresight of trying to plan for something that you want to eventually achieve and get to without necessarily knowing the how. So it's interesting in terms of how you can actually identify who you can put in this very important role of being a spiritual mentor. It doesn't necessarily mean that someone has to be well versed in the particular conversation you're in. Sometimes there's actual beauty in someone that doesn't know the industry that you're trying to infiltrate. And sometimes it's very important for someone to be very mindful and have some kind of idea of what it takes for you to achieve your goals under the said task or title. So, as I mentioned, there's someone who's just starting off having vivid dreams, but then there's someone also, they've literally opened up into Mbazabo, yes, ukobela ukona, whether the relationship is good or not. But this person wants to literally stand out and leave the shadow of ukobela wabo, just so to speak. And this person wants to actually maybe add an interesting twist or an interesting approach to how they run their practice. Now they're going to look for a spiritual mentor or even a mentor in its own right that's going to help them navigate this part of their life. Because sometimes you need someone else to bounce off ideas off because they don't necessarily see the conversation or the narrative much like how you would. And you know how half the time a lot of things are very personal for us when we start talking about them, versus to someone that we're talking about, they'll just see it for what it is and say, "Ay, lapho khona angiboni kahle, mazame enye into," and they'll be able to advise you without actually putting too much thought into it or more negativity than you would, because you'll also feel like, is it even going to work out? Is it worth the hassle? Is it worth the time? So today I'm going to be talking exactly about that. And I've identified that spiritual mentorship is something that's incredibly and increasingly important, because you're going to need it at different parts of your life. You cannot try and keep the same mentor when you're starting out, during, and post, because there has to be a level of growth that you can identify about yourself. There's also a certain level of inspiration that you should be able to get from your spiritual mentor, as well as them to add a different perspective to how you on your own see the things that you're trying to solve for. Spiritual mentorship is something that's important in such a way that you might think that something is unique to you, but actually, because this person is not as invested in the conversation as you are emotionally, they are able to even bring on different kind of ideas because of their level of exposure in whatever industry that they belong to. Now, it's also wise for someone to identify that within your spiritual mentor, you have to have someone that's not afraid to tell you when you're wrong, is not buying face, and is not trying to be a likable person. So there's a difference then in that case when you're trying to maintain a friendship with your mentor, because to some level that respect and that line has to be drawn. Now, the different kinds of spiritual mentors that you can have, again, could even be your supportive friend, a parent, a pastor, ukobela, literally anyone that you can trust. And here is the keyword of trust, because at most times, we would humble ourselves, make ourselves very small when trying to share some of the ideas that we have. But now, if we're dealing with someone that has like a bad way of communicating, they're going to maybe make yourself feel like your conversation or your idea is not smart enough, it's not well thought out, or just make you feel like you don't have any confidence towards whatever it is that you're doing. So some of those things are the ones that you should be able to identify. And coming up now is the important attributes that you're supposed to find in your mentor. Oh gosh, this happens all the time. One day you leave a studio all nicely packed and you find that you've got damage to the equipment. Oh my gosh, I didn't plan for this. It's really stressful running a studio, especially because there's content creation and then the studio design. If you would like to donate to the channel, I would gladly appreciate that. Please head on over to paypal.com and look for Lesedi Sangoma, which is a tag that's going to be at the bottom of your screen, and you will be able to donate any amount that you feel that is deserving to the team, and I would really, really appreciate it. There's equipment to be bought, there's personnel to be paid, and lots of work, time that is brought into coming up with all the great and exciting content that I provide for you. So if you would like to donate, please, ding, 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 don't be shy. I'd like your help, please. To get the best out of your development processes, you need a mentor that understands what you are trying to accomplish and how the learning processes goes or works. You need someone who you can trust, someone who is candid with you and can have open and honest conversations with you. The mentor's social standing is less important than the ability to observe you, give you feedback, and help you think about how many ways you can actually do things and how you can approach them. Finding a mentor does not mean you move and shift your responsibility. Don't be disillusioned by the world. Don't give power of your soul, intellect, and spiritual power away. Allow a person to be themselves. It teaches you how to be around them and how to deal with conflict when it arises, because you're not going to make it about the individual, but more so about what the challenge is. But hang on. How do I know if I need a spiritual mentor? How do you know when the time is right? How do you know what to even look for? Or even if you have the right personality type for you to be led by someone, how do you know? This is how. Mentors provide insight, information, and wisdom for our lives. So they bring a fresh perspective and a sounding board that you can bounce ideas from. Mentors promote spiritual growth through discipline. They are able to help you realize are you growing? Are you spending enough time doing the things that you're meant to do? And hold you accountable to them. Mentors like to talk about the hard truth in a very loving way. So they're going to, again, keep you accountable, honest, and for you to realize that for you to achieve your goals, you need to go through specific roles. Mentors practice what they preach, and they help you to do the same. These people make it easy for you to identify in yourself and in themselves that whatever it is that they're asking of you is something that they can do themselves. So how do you know if you need a mentor? You're going to realize by seeing that there's an inconsistency with the kind of work you produce. You're maintaining your energy levels whenever you have a new project. To even think up a new project is something that may be difficult for other people. Sometimes you may find that you're even wishy-washy, all over the place when it comes to your spirituality. One day you believe in this, another day you believe in that. One day we are partly at Tandaza. The next you don't believe in it anymore or don't have the energy to do that. But spiritually, when you have someone that understands your spiritual goals, they'll help you identify how to get over some of the hassles that you have, like maybe struggling to get out of bed or being consistent when it comes to setting the goals that you've set for yourself. And that's why a spiritual mentor is very important. And can you see, there's many areas of our lives where we can identify if actually we need a spiritual mentor or do we need ukobela. Something that's also important is for you to do research on your spiritual mentors. Anyone that you can already identify as a person of interest for you and someone that you would like for them to help you along your journey, before you even engage them, I'd like you to research and find out about their affiliations, the circle of people that they spend time with, not necessarily in a stalker kind of way, but social media makes it easy for us to be able to notice the people that interact with the people that we're interested in. You know, algorithms. So when you are able to identify this, you can already see what kind of people are they affiliated with. Are they like-minded in the same industry? Are they doing equally as well, if not better? Other things you can identify is a demographic, an age, a race, religious beliefs. All of those are important because it actually cuts down to the fine line of whether someone is able to help you or not. Some people have a moral compass and others don't. Sometimes they might just take on the role because, well, it makes them look good socially. So it's important to really find out about the person's characteristics. Are they in line with you? Is it someone that you feel 10 years from now you're gunning to be exactly where that person is in however you view them in their lives? So it's very important for you to identify these key points because it's going to make you be able to identify this individual better. I'd really like to implore you to be very considerate when you are looking for a spiritual mentor or you've already found one. I need you to be cognizant of that person's time, that person's energy, and the kind of help that they want to invest in you. So please follow through on the things that you're being helped with, and for you to learn and ask the right questions to really make sure that you are actually using this opportunity that you have. It's not easy for someone to leave their lives or working on their dreams to help you identify yours. So be responsible in how you manage this relationship. Also, give it a time lap, a time that you know that it's going to run for, a duration that you know that you can manage. You can't have a relationship with someone who's literally investing in your growth indefinitely. Sometimes it can even be a distant mentor or an occasional one, someone you touch base with every 6 months, every quarter of the year, just for them to keep track of how you're doing and to maybe get you in contact with someone else that can help you further on in the next part of your journey. Really take the time to identify exactly what kind of help you need. You can't go looking for someone and make all your issues theirs. They don't care enough to want to fix the whole structure of your life. But there are things that they're interested in or are willing to help you on. So don't pass the buck and make it someone else's responsibility. I did a very lovely podcast, Novus from Kwantu. And he was able to invite me over and have me as one of his guests for this particular podcast. I'm going to add the link either above or below in the details of this video for you to be able to listen to it. He gets to share how I have been a mentor for him. He started coming to see me when I think I was 20 years old and I was practicing from my grandmother's home, Kotipkloof. And that was somewhere in maybe 2012, around there. So it was lovely, I know, a full circle like moment for me to know that I helped a guy like him who today I believe is holding very strong and very important conversations around our culture, ethnicity, and our heritage as Africans who are young, inquisitive, but don't necessarily have the answers. So I hope you get to enjoy the podcast below, and please do come back and leave a comment and let us know how you found it to be. Thank you for tuning in to another great and exciting episode of GMTV. I've been your host with the most, happily to host you always, Gogo Moyo.